Spit bars, I stand behind mine. Yeah. Sentences I serve, maximize guidelines. My lawyer can't give me his advice when these beasts that I murder carry mandatory minimums of life. Yikes. In case you didn't get the point, we spit bars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. I'm your man, AJ Throwback. Great to be here with you on another awesome Wednesday where we are breaking down a brand new single. This week, we are bringing down my latest single, Jason's Lyric, featuring my brother, Michael Jalil. But before we get into it, if this is your first time checking out any of my content here on YouTube, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification so whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. Now we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some of these great comments from our Maximum Sentence faithful. So the first comment comes from my sis, Ansley Jukebox Joy. She says, wow, I didn't know how much I needed to hear this until I watched. Thank you so much for your brilliant insight. I so appreciate you, my brother, King AJ. And that is in response to the last video about Senior Week Forever, about the third verse to that song. So definitely appreciate that comment. The next comment comes from another one of my sisters. The sisters are representing this week. This one comes from Lady C. She says, these episodes are so informative and relatable to everyday life and everyday obstacles. I learned so much from these discussions and truly appreciate the background stories. Great stuff. Thank you so much for that. And that is a huge amount of the reason why I have this platform. The next comment comes from my cuz, Keisha Moss Woodus on TikTok. She said, this is in response to a post, a snippet that I put from the last video where I asked, how much was your college debt? And so she said, Lord, I owe over 100K. Man, that's a lot. And here I was trying to complain about my little $4,500 that it took me so long to pay. But I definitely appreciate that. And I hope you pay that 100K sometime soon, cuz. And the last comment comes from Nay underscore Ray 001 on Instagram. She says, I was blessed beyond measure and did not have to deal with any debt. My parents either paid out of pocket or had loans, but at that time it didn't even cross my mind how I was getting paid. I need to thank my mom now. My father has passed, for allowing me the freedom to not have that hanging over my head. Thanks so much for the eye opener. And that's priceless because so many people end up having to pay that bill after they graduate from college, and you know, they're on the hook for that. So definitely appreciate that comment. And I definitely appreciate all of the comments, all of the support for the last episode of The Maximum Sentence, as well as the support that I've received thus far for the single Jason's Lyric, which if you don't have, you can go to my website and get it right now. It's back with Rolling Blackout, and that website is BAMMLLC.net/music. Once again, that's BAMMLLC.net/music. Or you can go to my Bandcamp page if you're a Bandcamp person, and that is ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Once again, that's ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these lyrics, into the first verse of my brand new single, Jason's Lyric. Once again, that is featuring my brother, real brother in life, Michael Jalil. Brother by law, but still, you know, I don't call him brother-in-law. That's my brother as far as I'm concerned. And I'm so blessed to have his vocals on this song, really blessing this song and taking it to another level. The first line that I want to start off with is where I say, although some people thought that you would be a girl. And why that line is important is because for a very long time, my wife and I, we thought we were going to have a girl first. In fact, we had a name for our girl, and her name was going to be Quincy Rochelle. And we just really loved that name, like Quincy for a girl. Like, you don't see too many girls named Quincy, you know. But God knew different for multiple reasons. Because, one, my wife had a dream about a boy, about having a boy first. And in his hair, he had like the shape of a lightning bolt, like cut into his hair. And then it was one of those things where like he kind of whizzed by, and she's like, where are you going? Like trying to get him to slow down and everything. So she had this dream about a boy. That's number one. Number two, when I had a vision of my wife having our child, our first child, because let me tell y'all something. God gave me two visions when it came to my wife. He gave me the vision of knowing that she was going to be my wife. Like, I saw it clear as day without anybody having to tell me that, oh, I want to get married, or, I'm thinking about marriage. Sometimes like when you're with somebody, like they'll talk about marriage and you're like, oh yeah, I can see that. That sounds nice, especially if I'm being honest, as men, because a lot of times we're not always the quickest ones to jump toward the idea of marriage. But when I met my wife back in 2007, I would say probably within the first 2 or 3 weeks of knowing her, I got these visions. I'll never forget where I was. I was walking. So when I got the vision of us being married, I was on Alabama Avenue, right over there, shops of, I think it's the shops at Parklands. Right over there where like the Giant and all of that is on Alabama Avenue, the IHOP and all of that. So I'm over there and I'm walking. And I see it clear as day, us getting married. And then it was another day, maybe right around that same time, I'm walking down the hill on, I want to say, a Savannah Street, trying to get to the bus and everything. So one morning on my way to work, I'm walking down Savannah Street and I get this vision. I get this vision of her having our first baby, and it's a boy. Those were two of the biggest signs right there that we were going to have a boy first. That and the fact that, I'm gonna be honest, I spoke it into existence. I think she kind of did too, but it's the doubt thing, if I'm being honest, because sometimes when you want something so bad, a lot of times you feel like you get the opposite of what you want. But we manifested it so much. We manifested it in vision. God gave us both different visions. God gave me a daydream, and then God gave her a dream at night. So that's confirmation right there. But you had a lot of people that were saying, oh yeah, I think you're gonna have a girl. I think you're gonna have a girl. And like I said, we even had a girl name picked out. But within a few weeks, we knew we were gonna have a boy. And so it was one of those things where, as that's why I say in the next line, and if you were, I would have loved you just the same, but I'm glad I got somebody who will work to keep the fame. Because the thing about having a girl, it's a beautiful thing. But the girl is not going to keep your namesake going unless she never gets married, or if she decides she hyphenates her name, but still there's another name attached to that name. She still, to a large degree, takes on the name of the man that she marries. Whereas a boy, he's going to keep that name, and he's going to keep that legacy going. He's going to keep that name going as long as he possibly can. And no pun intended, because my government last name is Goings, but he's gonna keep that name, the name Goings, going even more. And also the thing is, a lot of times that we can have certain expectations of what we want or who we want. But when it comes to children, like, people would say different things or whatever, what you want, a boy or a girl. And at the end of the day, I think anybody, you don't really care whether or not you have a boy or a girl first. I wanted a boy first. This is what I meant to get at. I wanted a boy first because I always envisioned having two kids. I always envisioned having the boy first and then having the girl second, because the older brother could protect the younger sister. I always looked at it that way, But as it stands right now, Jason is our only child. But the thing is, getting back to what I was about to say in terms of what a lot of parents care most about, a lot of times you don't care whether or not you have a boy or a girl. You just care that you have a healthy child. So we get to the lines where I say, cause the G's in your name ain't for goblin or gremlin. There's meaning to your name, you are godly and gifted. A helper, a harbinger that God truly saves. And for you to make it here beyond circumstances brave. Those lines are paramount to this song. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you go back to the very first line of the song where I say, our little healer, welcome to the world, we were very purposeful in how we named our son. His first and middle name are Jason Isaiah. Jason in Greek means healer. In Hebrew, it means the Lord is salvation. Isaiah in Hebrew means God saves. And so thinking about his name, it was very intentional. My wife dealt with a lot of health issues before we found out that we were expecting. It was one of those things where, we were just kind of sort of concerned about possibly having children. Like we didn't even really, of course we talked about it, but it wasn't one of those things that we obsessed over, we stressed about. It was always on God's time, when God is ready for us, because we were married for 5 years, actually over 5 years before we even got the word that we were expecting our first child. Dealing with a lot of the health issues that she dealt with when we were in the process of pregnancy. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we went to one person that was going to be our OBGYN person for the pregnancy. If I'm not mistaken, this particular doctor, she basically tried to advise us not to have the child because it would be so detrimental to my wife's health that it would be better to not have the baby at all, basically to abort the baby. And we never went to that doctor ever again, needless to say. So then we ended up going to another doctor. Shout out to Dr. Larson at GW University. He was just a godsend in a lot of different ways, because his whole thing was, yeah, you can have the baby. It's just a matter of managing the health and doing what you need to do during the process of pregnancy. It's possible. Now, it's risky. It can be a risk to both you and the baby, saying this to my wife. It can be a risk to both of you. It's important to, rest as much as possible, to eat right as much as possible, and to do what you need to do to protect your health during this process. But it can be done. It wasn't one of those things where it was just giving up. That's why second opinions are absolutely important in medicine, in the health field, because one doctor will tell you no, but unless more doctors tell you no as well, you need that second opinion. Because some people will just rest on the first opinion and say, you know what, well, I don't want to die, or I don't want my baby to die, or I don't want any of that to happen, so let me just abort the baby, to protect myself. But it's all about faith at the end of the day. We had faith, and the doctor had faith. To have doctors in our corner, because it wasn't just the OBGYN, it was also her cardiologist who had faith. There were a lot of people who were in our corner speaking life into our situation, and that's why it was so important. And knowing that this baby was going to be a miracle baby, that's why we named him Jason Isaiah, going back to how we named him. And so then you go to the lines where I say a helper, a harbinger that God truly saves. That's why I said that part, because of his name, Jason Isaiah. Both names mean the Lord is salvation, or God is salvation, or God saves. We put it in his name twice, because not only did his presence save his own life, but it saved my wife's life. During her pregnancy, my wife actually lost weight. There aren't too many. Most times when you see people get pregnant, they gain weight. My wife actually lost weight. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of threw me off, because it was like, like my wife is thick, you know what I'm saying, thick and beautiful, and all of that good stuff. So when she started slimming down, it was weird, because I've been accustomed to, one, her being a certain size, but then two, I've been accustomed to seeing women gain weight when they get pregnant. But it was a certain glow that she had on her, and it was beautiful to watch, because you were watching the healing during the process. You're seeing this life growing inside of the woman that you love, the person that you love, and they're getting better through the process. Despite what a lot of risks are out there, she just went with it anyway. And it was God's way of really saving the both of them, and saving our family, and saving our marriage in so many different ways. And then thinking about, and for you to make it here beyond circumstance is brave. Like, our son, he was expected to be here September 9th of 2014. He ended up being born, I want to say about 3 weeks early, August 18th of 2014. So he was almost a preemie, but he was within that little range that you're not necessarily premature. Like you're in that safe range. I want to say like at 37 weeks, you're still in that good range where it's like you're not necessarily premature, but you on the borderline. So I think he just made the cutoff of not being premature. But it was a specific type of birth that she had to have, and it was one of those things where he had to be in the NICU for like a night longer than maybe some babies do. And then my wife, she had to be in the hospital for 3 days after she gave birth. But just thinking about everything just in the pregnancy and the birthing process that both of them had to endure, it's one of those things where our son truly is a blessing. He truly did heal my wife in a lot of ways. A lot of the issues that she had before getting pregnant and before giving birth, she doesn't deal with those things as much as she did beforehand. Her heart functions have improved tremendously since 2010 when she first got diagnosed with the heart condition that she has. Everything has improved so much for her because of the birth of our son. Him being in her body, my cells merging with her cells to make this baby that's helping her to heal because of the healthy cells that my presence is in her body. That's the beautiful thing about when you have a child with somebody and you have a child with the right person. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect in a lot of ways, but I don't have a whole lot of health issues, especially at the time that, we got pregnant. I had most of my health issues in my 20s. It's like God was really preparing me in a lot of ways because most of my health issues were in my 20s. But once I got to my 30s, I really didn't deal with a lot of stuff that it was like, I don't know, like the stuff that I dealt with, like migraines or kidney stones or IBS or like a lot of that stuff that I talked about in one of the episodes of talking about Senior Week Forever. I didn't deal with those things in my 30s. The most that I had to deal with were bladder issues in my 30s. But other than that, I feel like it really greatly benefited her in a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? So his presence really is a blessing. And that's why this song is so important, because it not just celebrates him in terms of just him being an awesome kid, but to really celebrate his presence and what his presence means to our family. Somebody called it a love letter. In a lot of ways, it is a love letter to my son. So I think that's a perfect place to kind of sort of leave it before we transition to the second verse next week. But until then, if you have not heard my latest single, this awesome single that's out right now, Jason's Lyric, featuring my brother Michael Jalil, backed with Rolling Blackout on the B-side. Same place where you can get that single. You can also get what you see on me right now from my Balancing Act Trinkets and Clothing House line, otherwise known as Batch. You can get this hat, this dad hat. You can also get this t-shirt. Of course, this is celebrating my main man, the late great Mayor Marion Barry. Not all superheroes wear capes, because my man was a hero to so many people in DC. But he didn't wear a cape. He didn't have to, because he was just great anyway. And on the back, of course, it says Mayor for Life, to just commemorate what he means to the city of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, back when it was Chocolate City. So the same place where you can get the music, you can get this merch, and that is BAMMLLC.net. Once again, that is BAMMLLC.net. Get the music, get the merch, you get the music. You can connect to your favorite streaming platform, whether you are an Amazon person, Tidal person, Deezer person, Apple Music person, doesn't matter. You can connect to those sites from my website, or you can connect to Bandcamp, or if you want to go directly to Bandcamp because you're a Bandcamp person, which is totally understandable, you can definitely go to my Bandcamp page, which is ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Once again, ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. If this is your first time watching any of my content here on YouTube, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching today. Hope to see you back again. Second of all, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification so whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. And if you are not already following me on social media, please do so. I follow back as long as you're on the up and up. On Facebook, I am at AJ Throwback, as well as on Twitter, I'm at AJ Throwback. And on Instagram and TikTok, I am at a.j.throwback. So next week, we will be picking up with Jason's lyric in the second verse. And the second verse, it digs a little bit more, gets into some real stuff, some things that might get a little personal if I'm being honest, but that's what I'm here for. That's what we're here for. We're here to dig. We're here to go beneath the lyrics, peel back the layers of the lyrics. So definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Definitely appreciate everybody who's already purchased a single. And until next week, this has been The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. I'm your man, AJ Throwback, and I want y'all to enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your weekend. And I will see y'all later. Peace.
You're more than just a lyric that I write. You're a spirit full of fight. You're a miracle of life.
Took a little time for you to get here, so please won't you stay a while, so I can marvel at the way you